The road to Pushkar offers a lot of information on the life of villages in the countryside, and it is a Brahman priest, or maybe an imitator, who welcomes us in the parking lot. In India, as in many other countries, children beg, and as soon as we get out of the bus, we're assailed by them, who will not leave us alone from the parking lot to the ghat, where a ritual puja, a religious ceremony of prayer and offerings, will be carried by an Hindu priest near a man-made pool, as the Pushkar lake is almost dried up. The following day, the road to Udaipur becomes a true cross-country itinerary, and our chauffeur's abilities are severely tested. In general, the Udaipur region looks cleaner and richer, and we can see lots of small businesses along the road. The ladies-in-waiting garden, the Sahelion-Ki-Bari, allows for a moment of relaxation before reaching the hotel. The Hilltop Palace is beautifully located and gives a panoramic view of the city and the Nehru Island, a botanical garden at the center of the Lac Fateh Sagar, with, in the background, the Monsoon Palace at the top of the mountain. The sunset is a good omen for tomorrow, as we will be visiting the City of the Lakes. With its spectacular view on the Lake Palace, the City Palace is our first stop. Located on the bank of the Pichola Lake, it is the largest palace of Rajasthan. It was built and added on to between the 16th and 20th centuries. Of course, a large section has now been transformed in hotels, boutiques, and museums. The visit offers a panoramic vista of the city, and one can look at numerous individual palaces with their own interior gardens and roof patios. That day, by pure chance, the young prince was celebrating his birthday. Procession of friends and family members coming to offer their best wishes, as well as a contribution to the prince's charitable foundation. What a view over the Lake Palace, one of the most famous hotels of the area, which, with the Monsoon Palace, serve as the backdrop for the James Bond movie Octopussy. Then the discovery of the animated streets of downtown Udaipur, where the Jagdish Hindu temple is dedicated to Vishnu. Locals meet there for a chat or to sell flowers as offering to the gods, or simply to beg. Its stone details include elephant battles, as we've seen them on the artwork at the City Palace. We then continue toward the bank of the Pichola Lake and one of its many ghats, from where a boat will take us to Jagmandir Island for a visit of its 17th century palace, to be transformed into a hotel. Of the Jagmandir, it is said that Shah Jahan found his own inspiration there for the construction of the Taj Mahal dome. In India, there's really nothing better and more beautiful than the sunset, especially above this wonderful city's flickering lights to end this perfect day. On the road toward Jodhpur, remarkable scenes demonstrate the use of ancient methods still in use in the countryside and make for interesting footage. Nevertheless, one cannot but face the rough life of these women who carry daily loads to and fro over several kilometers. And the water drawing mechanism is a total surprise with its two ox activating a wheel gear from days long gone by.
Here and water, they draw here, for example here, from the well. And we used to throw the water in the field, like that. Yeah, like that. Good.
A detour to reach Ranakpur proves quite long but takes the visitors to the Adinath temple with its 1,444 columns of finely decorated white marble. It is located in a green area at the heart of the Aravalli range of mountains northwest of Udaipur. It is one of the largest and most important Jainism temples in India and a fine example of the sacred architecture of the country's western region. Jainism is a religion specific to India where there are some 3 to 4 million faithfuls. Of course, India's main religion is Hinduism, with around 900 million followers, with Islam coming second, with 150 million devotees. In the parking lot, monkeys beg for food under the watch of the eldest member of the group. And we're back on the road. Jodhpur will be but a short stopover, leaving only time to visit Maharaja Jaswant Singh II cenotaph, from where the Mehrangarh fort can be seen in its splendor. That fortress started being built in the 15th century and was added on until the 19th century, described by Rudyard Kipling as having been the creation of angels, fairies and giants. We will sleep in Jaisalmer and are therefore back on the road for several hours. In the northwest region of Rajasthan, the Thar Desert unfolds its sand dunes and rare vegetation, and surprisingly gazelles, camels, and ox live there, certainly belonging to local farmers. In this region, the Gadi Sagar is noticeable for its man-made reservoir, an ancient commercial post where the cattle and camel fairs were important events. Under the protection of the Jaisalmer fort, the small hamlet grew to become a city of Jaisalmer. As for the fortress, like several others we visited, it shelters treasures of bygone times, and from its heights, there's an impressive view over the modern city outside its walls.
And that one is running. Yeah, for his own people. So let's talk about the war as it started or the
The narrow streets of Jaisalmer hide an intense life that has to accommodate the presence of animals and their waste, which is not always easy for us Occidentals to accept. Then it is time for a breath of fresh air, and a camel ride in the Thar Desert's sunset ends that day beautifully. Between Jaisalmer and Bikaner, the road crosses the desert where only irrigation can allow to cultivate the soil. Yet again, in the desert area, numerous camels live off the little greenery available. At lunch, one of us cannot resist the temptation to go and try to talk to the farmers cultivating the fields below. Unfortunately, they do not speak English. It's a bit frustrating. A comfort stop under the open sky, and off we go to the Juganar Fort, a monumental construction from the 16th century. Bikaner was then, with Jodhpur and Jaisalmer, one of the three great cities of the Rajasthan desert, when the Central Asia Road crossed this region to reach China. Junagadh Fort remains the richest and best kept Rajasthan fort, as it never fell into enemy hands. Way above the desert, the fortress shelters no less than about 30 individual small palaces, temples, and pavilions decorated with rich details of lacquer, mirrors, and gold leaves. One of its halls contains an early 20th century biplane. As for the main door, it tells a lot about the ancient defense methods. A short break, and Mandawa is our last stop before returning to Delhi. This city is located in the Shekhawati region and is well known for its havelis, large mansions that used to belong to merchants and industry magnates of the glorious days of Mandawa, when the Shekhawati region was crossed by the China-bound caravans. If one can imagine their ancient beauty by looking at this one example of haveli transformed into a hotel, most of them have been abandoned to their sad destiny. Crossing the city offers its usual images of the people's daily lives, and that last hotel welcomes us in a decor quite different from all others, newly built, with its round shapes and its modern take on the traditional desert construction. The desert resort has other peculiarities, for example, the technique used to clean the surrounding grounds, as if the broom handle did not exist yet, a method of brooming often seen in Rajasthan. And in case of fire, it might be a region where the broom handle and the fire hydrant are unknown. Mind you, we are in the desert. But nevertheless, the hotel owner has a splendid collection of old cars. The last day is spent entirely driving back to Delhi. It gives us the opportunity to see a farmer preparing the soil using the ancestor of the mechanical plow in its most primitive way, pulled by a camel. Before we left India, we needed an experience with the Indian police force, of course the latter stopping our bus and asking the driver for his papers. As the discussion goes on, our guide asks us to come out and take pictures, threatening the police officer to publish his photo in the next day newspaper. India has a serious problem of corruption. Let's just mention the Summer Games of the Commonwealth that were budgeted for 100 million and ended up costing several billions. The next morning I leave. A last friendly wave, a last sacred cow, ongoing walk in the guts of the city, right to the airport. I leave India with strong emotions, some regrets, and the feeling of not having seen enough, and too many questions left unanswered. I will certainly come back. But the Indian experience was not ending there. You will find out why by watching the last chapter of my 100-day adventure in South Africa. See you soon!